Feature Friday.
The freshest.
Hello. Hello, people. Welcome to Feature Friday Plus. It is Sunday. Sunday is the day for... I'm gonna come up with different things I do on Sunday every Sunday. Let's see. Let's start today. So
You've been doing ballet classes lately.
yeah, but I do not do them on Sunday. Sunday is God's day. On Sunday we rest.
Yeah.
From the week we do.
Not for me, but it is. I think for
That
most people.
sounded so like strong.
For most people, it is sort of rest, isn't it? Sunday has always been, for some reason, associated with rest.
Well, it has to be. It's like...
Is it for religious reasons that it's mainly associated with rest?
Yes, and so was Saturday at some point. Well, apparently...
But Friday is, for Jewish people, is Shabbat.
Yes.
And Saturdays, they're not allowed to go on their phones and stuff.
Is like Sunday.
Sunday.
Yes. But I think it because we grew up in a
like
Catholic...
The Catholic Sunday.
Yeah,
my
like,
Sunday.
Like, it's because we grew up in a Catholic environment and household. Like, in Venezuela is such a strong thing, root, Catholic beliefs were so strong. Are so strong.
It's actually very interesting when you go to Europe, right, or even if you travel anywhere really, apart from your South America especially, you start to see so many different cultures and so many different religions that you didn't even know existed.
That's so
and
true.
it makes you feel like, bloody hell, I knew nothing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because I don't know, it maybe it's because, I don't know.
Like, if you're Muslim, what do you do on a Sundays? Does that have any effect?
I don't know. I'd imagine they have a day too.
They definitely would have a day to
worship.
No?
Yeah. You know what? When I was a kid, right, and
I know so little.
in Venezuela, right, in South America, church, like you had to dress up, sort of, you know.
But
the
don't
problem,
your Sunday best to go to church?
yeah, but the problem was,
You looked all pimpy and cool.
it was cool, like you had to dress up and stuff, but it was so like, oh my
And
gosh.
then you see your friends from church, you know, that you would only see when you go to church.
But I
Because their families would only, like, you would only see their families and all come together when you go to church.
But I would always fall asleep. Every single bloody time. And the annoying bit is you fall asleep and those churches are warm as a motherfucker. So
That's true.
you get all sweaty and stuff, and then after you feel like you've had a bath, but you have bathed in sweat.
And then
It's
you're
a sweat bomb of holy water. You know what I mean?
And then you have, like, after... You were one of those kids that whenever went to church... Because we always used to go to church mostly with my grandma. But at least I used to go to church with my grandma. So whenever my brother would tag along, you will see him at the beginning of... Before the service, running around the parking lot with all the kids. And he'd be like... He'd like a pullover and stuff, and he'd be sweating buckets.
You see my forehead
He's like, what?
shiny as a Dunkin' Donut.
On a hot Sunday evening. And then you would sit in the pews, and Efra would fall asleep instantly, right? I go,
I don't know why.
So my grandma
I didn't mean
always...
any disrespect. It was just, I don't know. I guess it was the way, the songs and the way
sermon,
they spoke and stuff, you know? It was all very, because it is. If you actually think about it, like any religion, the reason why you go to like a place to worship, because it's kind of like a place to reflect.
It's like a meditational state.
Yeah, to some extent. It's a place with, there's no judgment. You can sort of just sit there and just think. Just be in your own thoughts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but when you're a kid, like my own thoughts are not that simple and are not that complex. They're very simple. Toys, food, sleep. You know?
Done.
That's
Repeat.
it. Yeah. Food, play, sleep. So if I couldn't play and I can't eat, I'm going to sleep. You know? Right now, that has proved very difficult. Lately, I've like because of this whole second. Is that enough as
I have no idea
symbolism?
what you're trying to symbolize.
What should I say? Being locked inside.
Oh, the lockdown.
That's right. Because the second one, I mean, it's nearly ending now. But because of that, my sleeping pattern has been absolutely chuffed. You know, and
It has shifted. I currently am living on China's time zone.
literally, and it doesn't matter how hard I work to the day, even if I'm busy outside or whatever. I come back home, and the whole family's here, and
But your circadian rhythm is working at its own pace.
And then it's like 2:00 in the morning, and I'm like full of energy.
Efra's like
and I start working out
at like 4:00 in the morning, and he's like, "Oh, 7:00, good time to sleep." So
And then it's like 4 and I find this really interesting book, 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm like, oh, right, I forgot. I didn't shower after working out, because you have to shower again, even if you showered prior to that.
As if it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
So it's 5 o'clock in the morning, go have a shower. Then you have a shower and now you're refreshed, full of energy again. You're ready for round 2. Maybe have a second workout. Maybe have a second read of the book. Something. And then when you realize, you're like, oh my gosh.
The sun's coming out. Oh, I effed up.
I hear the birds. I also think it's because my nightlife used to be so intense. And now I don't have it.
But your nightlife used to be really intense, but you would be so effed the day after
In the morning,
because you would have you would be so sleep deprived that you wouldn't be able to cope with the day. But now I don't know what happened. You're doing it. It's like you're going on for like he sleeps for like 4 hours and then he's up again, ready to go.
Maybe I'm evolving.
That is so strange.
Maybe that's devolution. I saw this podcast of so it was a podcast on sleep.
Oh, interesting.
And circadian rhythms, and sort of how the length of sleep, REM sleep, when you dream and all that stuff. And
do you dream in REM sleep? No, you don't.
Rapid eye movement is where you sleep. Yes, it's where you're dreaming. That's what REM sleep is.
What is the one that you don't do anything and you're just dead? There's like a really deep one.
I'm not sure. Let's check that up. I think REM sleep is where you dream, right?
Okay.
Rapid eye movement, that's what it stands for. Then there's sort of like, because you go in cycles, so you never just stay dead.
Yes.
If you stay
that's
dead,
refreshing to know.
You stay dead. You're not coming back up, man. So you're always circling like this. It's like a wave. So light sleep, then REM sleep, light sleep. And then Ballet falls asleep.
I'm pretty close, not gonna lie. Right now I'm running on like.
Can you check that up, Father, please?
Right now I'm running on like what types of sleeps do we have?
I think it's 3 stages of sleep. If I paid any attention to that podcast, and I also studied this in psychology, but it was one of the things that interested me the least. Me the least at that time. Now it obviously does.
It is so cool. I think sleep is such a mysterious thing. You know that
dreaming is very, very intriguing.
Apparently, humans on average, if a human that lives average to 80 years, right? If it sleeps,
that's above most countries' life expectancy.
If they sleep, if the average human sleeps the 8 suggested hours of sleep daily, apparently we sleep for like 90 years of our lives.
90.
Yeah, something like that. I read it online.
How would that make any sense?
I don't freaking know. I'm just saying like.
There are 5 stages of sleep.
Go for
it. 5 stages. Go ahead.
Stage 1.
Yeah.
Drifting off.
Drifting off.
Drifting off.
Stage 2. Light sleep.
Light sleep.
Yeah.
It's like my mom's a light
sleep. 3
sleeper.
and 4.
Yeah.
Deep sleep.
And
the 5th is
REM. Yeah, that's where you dream. That's like the deepest one.
So what? Oh, right, I get it. So when you're like really deep, like you completely out of this body, basically, that's when you're dreaming.
Yeah, that's perhaps.
Maybe that's why we don't dream as often, because we don't never reach that level.
Yeah, it is highly beneficial though to reach.
So knowledgeable! Oh my God, my brain.
It is highly beneficial to.
It's a new word.
Oh my God, my brain.
That's what the podcast was about. It's like how highly beneficial it is to reach. It's not only sleeping 8 hours, but it's sleeping 8 quality hours of sleep.
I feel like I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah, I think when I was studying psychology, and I was 17, 18. So you're in this weird period of your life where you're trying to pass exams and you're cramming, or even if you're not cramming and you're studying, you're going past 11, 12 p.m.
Yes.
So you're never going to bed at at time, and then also you're checking your phone and stuff all the time.
I
so
remember
if I was sleeping 5-6 hours, it was realistic.
Yeah.
So to me, and when you're at that age, sleep never hits you that hard. However, I've always been one that if I don't sleep 8 or 7 hours, I am effed up.
Literally, very, very physically.
And most of the time, I don't sleep 8 to 7 hours. If, clubs are open, bars are open, I'm out and about, or maybe, I'm just busy. I don't sleep those 8 hours, or at least not those 8 hours as people think, like, 10. And then you wake up at 7.
Mm-hmm.
No, to me, it's like maybe like 3 o'clock in the morning after you've come back, or 2, and then I wake up at 10.
Well, apparently I also read in that very mistaken fact that I just stated that that also, like, how when you sleep, like, it doesn't matter if you had 8 hours of sleep throughout the day.
Yeah.
If you sleep throughout the day, apparently you don't rest. Like, your body doesn't actually replenish itself and rests properly, because apparently the daylight and it's doesn't allow you to sleep properly. I was like, oh, well, will you look at that?
Yeah. Well, you do have light sensors in your eyes.
Yes, but even if the room is dark,
Yeah.
your body doesn't
Well, because
fully.
that's what circadian rhythms
Yeah,
are.
your body doesn't, like, taking a nap actually doesn't really replenish you like it's supposed to, like when you sleep at nighttime.
That's tough.
That is so crazy. How do the people in the North Pole cope? Because they have like 6 whole months of sunlight.
They're made differently, man. Like people in Antarctica, people in the North, like people in Alaska, for example, they're
people
built
at the north,
differently.
In the north countries, Nordic countries, they also have something similar. I think, where was it? I don't know. North of Switzerland or something like that. No, not who's at the top? Iceland, Greenland. Those people. Yeah, that's what I read. So I saw in a video that they have like 6 months of darkness, and they're walking their dogs at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's pitch black.
Right.
So I don't know how they do it. And then
I think the hardest one would be somewhere like Alaska, where you have a specific period of time throughout the year where it's just light.
No, and they have a period of time in the year where it's just dark.
Yeah, maybe that one, maybe you sleep more.
No,
but the light one would be difficult, man. Like, when the hell does your body know it's time to go sleepy time?
In the dark. When does your body know when the hell is actual active
Yeah, I don't know. I also think they just build differently, man. When you're born,
it's so cold as well. I don't know how
when you move and you work at such, we were speaking about this earlier, Father and I, where when you work in the cold, right, or when you work outside for so long, like your body changes adapts. You, dude. Yeah. It changes you so much, and you become so much more like endurant. You can endure, resilient. You can endure pain differently. You become so much more resistant to stuff.
Yeah.
And these people that have literally lived their whole lives there, they're just built differently, dude. Like their mentalities, and then you add wildlife, right? Bears and moose and all these fucking killers. It's crazy. Like, oh yeah, on my way to work, I saw a bear.
Yeah, sea
lions. Yeah, focus.
They're built completely different. They don't think like I think, like a city boy. They don't think like you think.
No.
They think like it's survival. Like, and their body's just adapted to that.
Yeah, it's so amazing what the human body is capable of achieving, though. Like, I believe, like, the human race is so resilient. Like, the fact that we are able to adapt to such extreme atmospheres and places, to me, that's nuts. And the people actually, have normal lives in those places. That to me is crazy. Like, they go on ahead and have their normal jobs and, like, walk their dogs at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when it's pitch black and a polar bear can come out of nowhere at any moment. Like, those things to me is... No, you would never walk your dog at 4 o'clock in the afternoon here and a polar bear will come No.
Yeah, that won't happen.
You live in London.
When it's night time, you may face a fox out in the street.
Oh, that's also true. Yeah. But a fox, come on, the foxes here are like tiny. Like, the foxes here might be scary.
Foxes in general, not that.
Yeah, but they're not that big. They're not even that scary. They're just very fast.
Yeah. You know what I was gonna talk about?
And they can give you rabies.
That too, I guess.
Yes.
I was gonna ask you, because I saw this stuff be posted. This is completely fucking left turn. It's regarding Kai, and
yes,
he posted like a film.
Yes.
Right, which you told me is like something similar. You know how Becky released when Candy Delight was out, right? He posted like these snippets, and I thought,
each song.
Do you think we could watch that?
Not here, not in this podcast. No.
Right, I see.
Plus, I've seen it like 6 times.
Oh, I see. Right.
Ha 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 ha.
And also, there was someone sent me some text. So they said, obviously, Kai has dropped that. So
God 7 also released a Last Breath album teaser as well.
Oh, let's have a look at that. That's good.
No, because that has copyrighted content.
Oh.
Like all the songs are snippets.
Oh
of the
shit!
songs
Oh yeah.
of each track on the album.
Right, we'll check that in our own time then. What other stuff? Hypen released some stuff.
Oh, did they?
I think. Yeah, it was like I think it's like a teaser.
Cool. For what?
I'm not sure. Well, they didn't they release?
Hey man,
Or aren't they meant to release?
I don't really know.
I don't know.
Hype
I know
episode
Monday,
3.
so I know tomorrow we'll check out.
They're doing like a behind the scenes.
Okay. So maybe people wanted to watch
it's like
that.
offline type of stuff.
Right.
We did watch their dance jam that they had recently. They had like a dance jam.
Which was very good.
It was so cool. It brought me back to my dancer days. You know, when you used to
It's all like freestyling.
Yeah, you used to go to the studio and like pop some music on, and whoever was feeling it, they're just vibing to the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's what we used to do for like hip hop classes as a warm up. We used to like just play music. Like the tutor would the choreographer would just play music, and let us experiment with the track itself and let us get used to the whole idea, because a lot of us weren't familiar with hip hop as a main source of like dance style. So the whole adaptation process for a lot of us it was all about discovering what your body can do in a certain style. So those jams are pretty cool, and I feel like they're so valuable for dancers overall.
You sort of it's sort of like
just
jamming.
Sort of you are just it.
It's sort of like jamming when you're a musician. It's such a clean, like it's such a essential part of your development, and
Absolutely.
also you find new sounds, you find new freedom, you find more comfort.
You also start to understand what
build confidence.
No, yeah. Also, but it also lets you understand you as a creator better. You know, like, oh, I can do this. Oh, I feel comfortable doing that. Or it's the same when you're playing an instrument. Really.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I agree. I've just never. I saw you. I remember. Maybe I've mentioned this before. Like when I saw like you showed me some videos of like street dance battles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just never clicked to me. Like it never made. It never caused the whoa. But when I watch it on videos or like those shows, you know, those dancing shows and stuff, or like even in the X Factor or Britain's Got Talent, like
the dancers,
the dancer crews, there you're like, whoa, what the? That's insane. What they can do visually and stuff.
It's
when
like
you see the
synchronicity. I think what's impressive about group dancing is how synchronized everything can be.
But when you see the battles, you're like, I don't understand. My monkey brain, I'm not a dancer. I couldn't understand half of this stuff what was going on. It was like some guy showing him his heart. Look, I took it out. Oh, swallowed it back. And he's like, what? Oh. And everyone was like, whoa, you know.
He did that.
Yeah, it's like, you gonna take that, bro? You gonna take that? And then this other guy did like a moonwalk and then reversed it back and then showed like a Dragon Ball Z power. Like, what the brother?
Yeah.
I didn't understand half of it. But there's some people though, like where's that kid? Kid the Great? He's the guy that used to do Kari, you know him and his sisters, I think they're his sisters. Yes. He's great at it.
But you're talking about yes.
But he did some battles. Like I've seen some of his videos where he's doing battles, and he is great at it. Like I was like, whoa, that was sick. But it's a lot of stuff
over your head.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
you know. But there I kind of understood a bit. But when you showed me this stuff, I was like, whoa.
But that's what I find impressive about like mainstream commercial dancers, that they manage to make it accessible for everybody, regardless of whether you dance or you don't. Yeah. Whether if they brought back the essence of dancing is entertainment, is an expression, is not is stopped being a skill showcase that I think it was easily turning into, you know, before the whole Vine era of dancing came about. it wasn't
It was-
dancing wasn't mainstream. Like you never.
It was
used to
Vine,
see-
wasn't it? Slightly.
Yeah.
That sort of made making dance videos in your room or with your group of people on the street
Absolutely.
like really popular.
And then Musically came along, and then TikTok came along, and then the whole thing, kind of like evolved.
Well, it was first. It was Vine, Musically maybe, then Instagram, where people started
Yes.
posting videos on Instagram. How these pages started reposting it, and
No,
it
I
became a whole
actually think
niche.
it was. I think it actually think it was Vine,
Instagram,
Instagram,
yeah, yeah.
Musically, then TikTok. I
Yeah.
think that's how. I think that's how it evolved.
The thing though, like dancing though on TikTok, I feel like it's limited,
Yeah.
but the dancing on YouTube or Instagram feels more like a performance, like this is worth paying for. But
Yeah.
the ones in TikTok are
But
more
it
like
was
trendy.
but it was all born from trends
Out of
in
that.
in a smaller platform. Well, it
I
wasn't
agree.
small, but like a easier accessible platform, like it was Vine.
Yeah.
A lot of great dancers right now that have made their careers from like the Vine era, so it's actually pretty cool. It's pretty cool to have that social media outlet for something that wasn't mainstream. Like
Dude.
dance wasn't mainstream, and dance battles have been happening since the 80s, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were never. It was always like an underground thing. If you were a dancer, you would know about it, but if you didn't, if you weren't a dancer or weren't involved in the dance industry, you probably would have never known.
Same as like rap battles, It
Exactly.
wasn't making millions of views in the 90s, 80s, It was just
Yeah.
it.
It's
Whoever
just-
knew about it, knew about it.
Exactly, and it was the whole hype, and it was like a whole culture. But
Yeah. It was very underground, yes.
yeah, exactly, and so was dance though. If you weren't a prima ballerina, then you weren't a dancer, and that whole misconception kind of like grew with the whole dance industry.
Well, what if you were like a backup singer for a band, really, really popular band?
A backup dancer, you mean?
Yeah.
No, you were a professional dancer, but like, are you really a dancer?
What do
You're
you
just
mean?
getting paid for a gig. Like it wasn't for a long time up until like mid 2000s, like 2005, 2006.
Right.
Being a dancer wasn't like.
So you're saying like the dancers of like.
I think people just happened to be like in music videos and stuff. Like people used to think that they could pick up dancers anywhere, and like you didn't have to do a whole career out of it.
Really?
You feel yeah.
You feel like that? Or,
No,
or-
no, no. I know for a fact.
Right.
Yeah.
So what the hell? How would they have described you if you were like, I don't know, in a I don't know, Destiny Child song?
Like you're a backup dancer, but that doesn't give like what am I saying? Like doesn't give you privilege. Like it
Prestige,
wasn't
you mean?
prestige. Yeah, it wasn't like if you weren't signed with the New York Ballet in the company with the
Wow.
New York Ballet, you weren't a professional dancer. So everything else so all the commercial hip hop dancers were just people that you could pick up in a street. Like
But won't you even agree that's the case now, though? Because if you're a prima ballerina, right,
no,
aren't you more of a dancer than someone that dances on TikTok?
No. Here's the thing, though. You
Just
develop
asking. I'm
different.
not
No,
throwing
it's
shade at the TikTokers.
no because TikTok is a really bad comparison point. Let's put it in different genres and styles of dancing.
Okay, no, let me give you a style of dancing, right? Let's say.
Not a trend, because trends don't really measure up
Okay. Let's use contemporary.
Okay.
Yeah, let's say you're a contemporary dancer on YouTube, right, with 1.2 million subscribers,
Okay.
right? Independent creator,
Okay.
right?
In what era? We're talking about today's day and age.
Yeah, now I want to
Okay.
use now.
Okay.
And then you're a contemporary dancer that was in the BTS video, right? And they were from the academy as well. You remember that, like
Yes.
that. Who's more of a dancer?
No, they're both equally just as good, obviously depending on this Instagram dancer
Their
and
YouTube.
the YouTube. What background,
Background.
does it got? Yeah.
Okay, so and now let's take the
'Cause-
person who was in the BTS video, contemporary dancer,
Yeah.
and then let's take someone who was in a Chris Brown video in 2006.
So they're both professional dancers because they're both getting paid for their job.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yes, but in the eyes of the industry back then, that wasn't the case.
So you feel like people who were from an academy or from, let's say, upper echelon sort of styles, more classical styles, would get more work than, so because they would be seen as more of a dancer than people who were hip hop dancers in the 80s.
No, I'm just saying about the perception between dancers.
But why does that matter?
Efra, what can I say? Is like, are you a less of a player in tennis?
Damn, I play. Oh, I'm a tennis player.
Like
Sorry.
a tennis player than the guy who's got a world ranking point right now.
Yes.
Are you a less of a player?
Yes.
No, you don't.
No, of course.
You still played the tennis.
No, the tennis. No.
You still do it at a competitive level.
No. So your resume says more about you than how long you've trained or how much you've practiced, right? So if this player has won more tournaments than me, he is a better player than me. Or if he is on a circuit or stuff like that, and that moment I wasn't.
But say that you are at the same level of game, right?
Okay.
So say that you're at the same level of competitiveness.
Sure.
Are you more of a player? Is he more of a player than you just because he has a world ranking point? Is that how you perceive it?
No, that's how it is. He performs.
But you're at the same level though. Like
No,
you do the same
if
thing.
if I was, I'll be at the same ranking that he would have. Rankings sometimes don't matter.
Okay. So let's put it at like, because this guy trained with top coaches, and
Sure.
you trained with people that aren't recognized or whatever.
Sure.
You picked it up in like life or whatever. So you're the hip hop dancer. This is the ballet dancer.
Right,
Right.
I see. Because hip hop is not very
street wise.
I
Like
see,
you
I
picked
see.
up tennis on the street.
sure.
Yeah. So you just learned it.
Yeah.
Uh,
That never happens, but okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's a good example.
Is this person, the ballet fancy coach trained person, more of a tennis player than you? Even though you are exactly the same, at the same level, but in a different style.
But you can't look at it like that.
Picked
The only
it
thing,
up in the street.
you can't look at it like that. The only thing that
But
would
it
matter.
is.
No, the only thing that would matter is what happens when the lights are on.
But they both perform. That's the whole point. And they both deliver. So which one is more than the other? It's just perception.
Yeah, so why does it matter?
Because there was the whole thing about hip hop dancers and commercial dancers, like anyone can do it, but it's a lie. It's proven out to be a lie.
But okay, so did that perception affect people's amount of work?
Yes, not
People's
amounts
pay.
of what it work, but definitely pay and reputation in the industry for sure.
So more classical dancers were getting paid higher
I think yes.
than people who were maybe hip hop dancers in the
Yes.
80s.
Yes. Well, I think that's why you remember in 2006, 2007, the whole the film industry decided to combine hip hop with ballet in movies. You remember that? And people used to be like, "Wow, what a crazy thing. This is so disruptive. It's never been done before."
Yep.
And they got stuck in that until now. But that was the dance films, because you would never see a ballet dancer and a hip hop dancer seen as the same type of level of talent.
But those were sort of the storylines as well, weren't they? Like those were the storylines. This guy used to dance in the back of alleyways with a cardboard box and a boom box, and they would sort of do their own thing. And then this lady is looking way more professional and technique is sharp and thing, but they just specialize in different things. And then the storyline would be, oh, they're just as good as each other.
That's right.
But are they?
Well, yes. It's different genres, though. It's like eating a pot of ramen noodles and eating a pot of spaghetti. It's still noodles, though. You get me?
Right.
I don't know how to word it.
No, I agree. I think definitely, though, like, hip-hop has definitely benefited from the idea of formalization, though.
Oh, yes, I agree, though.
From academy training.
But it came from being more mainstream. It came from the whole industry trying to push it to people. It's acceptable. You can pursue this as a career.
Okay, this might be a more interesting question then. Do you think the level of ballet, right, in terms of, so a professional ballet dancer, right, in the 80s of ballet,
Yes.
how would they compare to a professional ballet dancer right now? What would be the gap?
Ooh, there are several different things that are
But
completely
would it be
different.
that significant? Would it be like ginormous?
The technique on its core would be the same, but obviously, yeah, the technique on its core would be the same, but the development and the application of those techniques has drastically it changed.
Also,
So,
diet has changed, training regimes
yeah,
have changed.
so there's a whole new understanding, you know.
But would it be narrower than a hip hop dancer from the 80s than a hip hop dancer from 2020?
Definitely narrower than what is now in the hip hop.
In hip hop, it
industry.
would be ginormous,
Yes,
wouldn't it?
absolutely.
So
And
that's my point then.
so
Ballet dancers were at a higher level of dance than hip hop dancers in the 80s.
it was also
Because of them neglected. They were also neglected. You could
no,
agree
and
that?
it was also a newer style. It was something that was born from
What?
the percussiveness of hip hop music.
When did hip hop
But,
start?
I don't know, but
Hip hop dancing.
ballet was born way before hip hop was even
Of course.
constructed idea.
Years ago.
Hip hop
Dance.
dance. What?
History. History in the Philippines.
That's also good to know.
The history of hip hop. You might want to put that.
Oh, so it was it.
Do you want me to read it or do you want to read it?
Go ahead.
You sure?
Yes.
It's just because of your glasses.
Yes.
That's only the reason why I offered. The history of hip hop dances encompasses the people and events since the late 1960s that have contributed to the development of early hip hop dance styles such as up rock, breaking, locking, roboting, boogaloo, and popping. African Americans and Latino Americans created up rock and breaking in New York City. And now search up the history of ballet just to sort of have an idea of the time frame, because that's also relevant, isn't it?
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
ballet has, not you, ballet as in the dance, has been out, for centuries,
1500s
50 years, it's obviously going to be a more refined, improved.
in Italy.
The ballet was formalized from a dance
You can read that
with
down.
its origins of the Italian Renaissance courts in the 15th and 16th centuries. Ballet spread from Italy to France with the help of Catherine de Medici.
Yeah, okay. 15th to the 16th century, right? So that's also a good point.
And it became such a huge thing in the whole of Europe and evolved it immigrated to America later on.
Right. So that's important to say. Like, it's also a style that the gap would be narrower in 30 years, 40 years, than a dance that was literally created in the 60s, 50s, right, to now. It's obviously going to be narrow. So maybe that is a bad example. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like hip-hop...
The level of skill and discipline and mastery that it requires the hip-hop dancer of today's day and age with the level of skill and discipline that a ballet dancer of today's day and age, it's potentially the same.
No, yeah, now, isn't it? Because I feel that's what I was saying. Like, hip-hop benefited from probably ballet structure of training.
That's right.
Because they've been one of the most, one of the eldest styles.
I think it's the first dance style to be formalized. Like,
really?
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
then
Because contemporary dance is born from ballet to break the ballet standards. It was like the rebellious thing to do to be a contemporary dancer, because it's based on ballet foundations, and that's why they trained you in ballet. But then they teach you how to break the rules that you were so strongly taught.
Like the stiffness,
and instead of certain positions, how to break them, how to make interesting shapes. Then from there, modern dance was born, and that's also like a new progressive thing, alternative type of dance. That was also I think it was formalized in like we can search it up.
It's benefit of Google.
Yeah. Let's just go with contemporary dance history.
Contemporary dance
yeah.
began at the start of the 20th century when U.S. dancer Isadora Duncan. Wow, it's all attributed to this one person. In 1878 to 1927, broke away from ballet and developed her own, a more natural style. So it's less than 200 years older.
Yes,
Uh,
but it's a
Contemporary, sorry.
yeah, no, it was such a rebellious thing to do. So if you were a ballet dancer and you trained all your life as a ballet dancer, and then you decided that you didn't want to get signed with the Royal Ballet and you wanted to do something crazy like contemporary dance, you were like a rebellious person, like you're throwing your whole career away.
Yeah.
And I actually think it was seen like that until very tons of years after it was formalized as an actual
The industry always evolves, and I think the good news about the industry is that the public demand is the demand. It's not the industry that demand. It's you who demands what you want to see, what you want to pay for, and depending on what you want to pay for, depending what you want to see, that's what the industry produces anyways. So that's why I feel like the hip hop industry dance wise is at such a boom. Because it's no wonder that also hip hop as a genre, music wise, it's at a boom right now, bigger than ever. Last 10 years has been hip hop.
That's right.
Everything has been hip hop. So it's no coincidence that hip hop dance is also at such a peak. But I also feel like it's obviously benefited hip hop as a whole. And they formalized the style so strongly.
And now I believe that with the whole globalization of art overall,
It's happening with everything, isn't it?
Yeah, you get to have such amazing creations like hip hop dancers that have learned to incorporate contemporary foundations to their own style, and jazz dancers that have developed fusions with Latin rhythms, and it's all such a wonderful world of creation right now, especially in the dance form. The whole lyrical game has changed because lyrical style as a dancer was seen to be a softer, more emotional type of dance, right? Something that perhaps combined both contemporary with modern dance in a more emotional, less abstract way.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with contemporary and modern dance. It became a bit abstract. People couldn't relate to it so easily because it didn't have a storyline or an intended purpose per se, right? It's just about the shapes and the fluidity of the movements, rather than an intended purpose to the piece. But with lyrical dance, you could have all those elements in one thing. But now, when you look at it, what lyrical dance is now has evolved into this acrobatic, fantastical thing that you get dancers literally flying across the stage, and it's fantastic. Is this whole yeah, absolutely artistic, 100% is the maximum expression of art for me. But it requires a whole new set of skills. It's not only your jazz technique and your ballet technique. No, you also have to develop acrobatics on top of it all, and it's incredible how, for example, now young dancers learn all these skills even before they can apply for a professional job, and there are professional levels already, and it's fantastic. It's such an exciting time for dance, I think, in the world. Is so cool.
Certainly is. We've also discovered lately that it's probably cool for people to see like where your biggest passion lies, because most people probably think is singing, and it is singing, but the closest second is dancing.
Yes.
And this was also very like shocking to me, and you can also tell like by what is the bias and all this stuff.
Yes.
Like the people Ballet enjoys from the Korean industry, the people Ballet enjoys from the Western industry, if you like to call it that. They're all like dance focused.
Yes.
You know, like
If they're not singing focused, they definitely
that's it.
or they embody both.
Pretty much, you know, like it's so crazy how much you idolize like Jennifer Lopez
Yes.
to me, and she's first a dancer, second a singer.
That's right.
She actually improved as a singer as she carried on in the industry and making music. So it's so like it was always intriguing to me as well, like how much of your heart was in dance, even though that wasn't like what would you call it? Like you weren't born dancing. You grew up first singing, then dancing.
Yes.
But it was like your second love.
It was a natural progression, I think, for me. Even though I wasn't formalized in any of my dance training per se until I came to England, but I was always involved in the dance industry since I was very young. So I don't know, it just kind of like became it became such a natural thing, like both singing, dancing, and performing just kind of like came hand in hand. So I don't know, it's something I'm really passionate about. And
Yeah.
when I had to stop dancing because of my back injury, I there was a part of me that kind of felt like had lost my identity, like I felt like there was a part of me that vanished, like didn't exist anymore. So it was very bizarre. It was very hard to think that that a single thing that you think it represents you, like makes you who you are, suddenly disappears from the picture.
True.
Yeah, you can, that whole adjusting process is mentally very hard, like, because you think, oh, eventually I will get it back, but when you're getting it back, you're a bit lost because you lost a bit of your identity in the way too. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's a crazy period.
it was a crazy period. It
Yeah.
certainly was. I think one of the things that I've always been really interested on, and given the way we've learned about different industries with the channel, I've always been interested in that, like, because so many members of especially the Korean industry have such a dance focus and dance training.
Mm-hmm.
You very rarely hear them talk about like injuries.
Oh no,
You know?
they definitely get injured though.
Absolutely. So I've always been like curious about finding out something that's a bit boring. Not many people talk about it, but like rehabilitation, recovery process. Like one of the things we
They're
were just
huge in Pilates though, and I think that's a huge prevention.
well, we know what is it? Sola. Well, she's dance pole
Pole dancing.
dancing.
It-
Jenny, Rose.
People from BTB, Peniel, male and female, Wonho.
You search up worst injuries in dance in well, you have to write K-pop, even though I don't like using that word.
Okay.
Worst.
Oh, that's so.
Don't
sad,
put
though.
pictures though. We'll get blocked.
Worst
Injuries. Dance
dance
injuries
injuries.
in K-pop.
Injuries.
There you go.
Oh,
look.
in BTS.
Yeah, K-pop. We'll do it in general.
In K-pop.
Worst. Go down.
Worst dance. It just changed.
You put
it,
worst
though.
dancer.
Injury. I can't spell.
Injuries in K-pop. Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
What are some of the worst injuries / disease? Who is the most hated K-pop idol? Jesus Christ.
Oh my god, what is this?
10 worst stage accidents that resulted in severe idol injury. Idol injuries hurt more than my body.
I think that there's not really, because they're very, tight in this type of information. I don't think they would openly talk about it.
Why not?
No, because the labels are so careful about this type of things, and these are very touchy subjects for their fandoms and people that follow them.
But in general, it says here that hip injuries, foot and ankle injuries.
Yeah, that makes
and
sense.
knee injuries.
Yeah, look, you
makes
got-
perfect sense.
You got John Yon from Twice.
Yeah.
While shooting, riding a horse. I think she fell, didn't she? Yeah. The horse kicked her leg, and was injured badly. Someone from B2B, Yuk. You might want to put that.
Juk Song Je.
Father.
Which one?
Pon el picture ahí, porfis. Juk
In the
Song
program King of the Masked Singer,
Masked
Yuk Sung Jae compete against Jang blah blah blah. After this competition, the result appointed since Jang Jae revealed itself to the public.
An error in the machine that the winner.
Oh,
Since the face was.
that's not an injury.
No.
Jin of BTS. Oh yeah, I heard about this. He broke his nose while playing futsal. Suyu of Twice. What else? In music programs. It's like controversies.
Yeah, it's really like I'm telling you, the labels are usually quite tight about it because there is a touchy subject for the fandoms.
Right.
You know.
Well, yeah, I guess it would. Would it? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. People feel very. You know how people get really emotionally invested in their idols and stuff.
True. So similar how the whole dating stuff is approached.
Yeah.
Right, but injuries, there's not much you can do.
Yes, but you know they happen. They keep them hidden. Recovery, get back on stage.
Yeah, I mean the one that I've been, the one that you sort of.
They even have them sitting down on live performances.
That's
I've
what I
seen
mean.
it.
Like if you're sitting down, it's obvious you're injured, so they might as well just disclose what it is. I think most of the time they would, because like look at the way they handled BTS Sugar's injury.
Yeah, good for
Very
him.
open, very normal. Everyone was like nice, because I think most people would be nice.
I don't know what to say.
If it was a controversy or whatever, I'd understand, right? Like there's some people, because that's the reason why it's called a controversy. It's gonna cause different opinions. But an injury, there's only one opinion you can have. Well, that's a bloody shame. I hope you get better, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nothing else you can have, and it's the same. Like, or just put, like, we know, like for example, there's people like for example, Lady Gaga. She has like an injured
No,
back, is it?
she has a chronic disease.
Yeah.
She suffers from chronic pain, I think.
Bloody hell.
And there's literally no cure for it. And it like sometimes it bothers her in the hips, sometimes it's all over her body, sometimes it's only on her face. So it's all to do.
That's
with it.
nuts.
Yeah, she's got it pretty bad.
You know who really impressed me with this documentary? I watched it months ago. Actually, maybe last year. It was Andy Murray's.
His tennis.
Yeah, Andy Murray. In case you don't know who Andy Murray is, which I doubt, but you might not know. He's a tennis player. He reached world number 1, like Britain's pride. He's actually called Sir Andy Murray now. And he had hip replacement.
Mm-hmm.
He had hip surgery, then he had replaced his hip, and now he's back on tour. But the hip replacement therapy was more for sort of quality of life stuff, because he was always under pain. Like he couldn't even tie his laces, and he was still playing at Wimbledon. He was, playing all around the world still, and he couldn't even tie his own shoelaces. And seeing sort of the recovery process, dude, it was so interesting. And he also vlogged for days as well, where he just speaking to the camera. It's like a video log, less of a video vlog, more of a log. Like, how am I feeling?
Mm-hmm.
How am I doing? I have to compete next week, but I'm obviously not ready. I have to withdraw. And the fans are sort of sad, and then more people are saying he's done and he's retired. But I wouldn't see that happening to any of these idols. Like, there's no need to retire, for them. Or there's no need for they can't carry on doing what they're doing, because dance injuries are not as crazy.
I wouldn't say that. You can.
I mean, not if you're not doing acrobatics.
Excessive overwork of your body. It will have a take on it, and it will have a really strong toll, and it will damage ligaments, and if you keep going, it will get worse with time. Sometimes you get better today and you think you're done, and the next day you're back in the same injury. This dance injuries are very delicate, and they're just as strong as sport injuries.
But wouldn't you say, because it's a free, you're not transferring weight as much? So I'm not saying
you are totally transferring.
No.
weight.
So not like in tennis or like in football or like in basketball. There's no contact either too often. Wouldn't you say that those injuries that are sort of career ending
They happen.
Yeah, of course, but aren't they like freaks? Aren't they like
They
not
happen
common?
to the no. They happen to the everyday professional dancers here.
And
Like I have
what,
friends.
career-ending injuries?
Career-ending injuries. I have friends that just because of overworking, they have teared all their ligaments in their knees. Can never dance again. End of it. I've had many friends.
Yeah, but like, but for example, let's use like an extreme example, like fighting, right? Like MMA. No, just
It
listen to
doesn't
this.
apply.
You have a window of competition because after you're 35, 37, your body can no longer take the toll anymore because injury, you're actually trying to cause bodily harm to the other person. So you have a window of opportunity from 19 onto your, well, I mean, there's people that have competed until they're 40, but you have like 22 good years,
Okay.
right? And you actually only have about 4 or 5 prime years when you're 27 to you're 34, around that. In dancing, do you feel like you still have only those 20 years of prime time?
Yes. After you're 30, you're not considered a hot dancer anymore. Like you're not as
Well, because you pass your physical prime, I guess, right?
Like 35, you start hitting, late 30s. Not increases.
Of course,
your
that's another reason why you no
body
longer
when
can
you're
compete at the highest level.
19 as a dancer is also you're not taking something into consideration. Dancers are trained to be flexible. This damages so many different bone structures and the body function per se of it all. Like especially ballet contemporary dancers, they train their bodies to basically reshape themselves through years of hard work, right? So after their prime years are done, their bodies will forever continue to be reshaped, and the issues do not hesitate to start to show up.
Like what issues
Hip
would you?
replacements, knee replacements, shoulder problems, spine issues, so many freaking problems with lower backs and upper backs too, hernias, in lumbar hernias, like in the spine. Dude, there are so many different things that actually muscle tear. There's people that after if 7-10 good years of professional work as dancers can never run for their lives again because of how much muscle exhaustion in their bodies there is. There's some how would you say irreversible damage in their bodies, and it's because it's overuse of their bodies. It's the same as athletes, and
It's rather
that's
interesting.
why-
Then that's pro.
The soul fascia is not recovered.
Yeah. Once you lose,
That's rather interesting then, because then maybe that's why when you hear some of these K-pop idols, so this or just I guess artists in general. You don't really see that in the Western world that much, but in the Korean industry, you sort of see them talk not only because their marketing prime time, it's their days are counted, but they also kind of know because they've been training since they're 11, right? That when they're 29, 30, they're kind of done. Like, mate, you're not gonna. So I understand more now because I've heard it from the BTS guys where they sort of speak in a manner of there is a term, there is an ultimatum. This isn't forever.
Mm-hmm.
They're not talking like those guys. What were the guys we were watching in the live band?
Tears for Fear.
Tears, they never put an end to their career. Their voice maintain themselves, but all they do is play instruments and sing, right? They don't dance or anything like that. The damage they've done to their body is either substance abuse. I'm not saying they have. I'm just saying I don't know them.
Those
I'm just
are
saying
possibilities.
exactly. Just either substance abuse, bad diets, lack of exercise, just lack of taking care of yourself, but not because of repeated use or muscle exhaustion, as you mentioned, strains, injuries. Very unlikely to happen like that. So that's maybe why these guys from the Korean industry, it's such a rush.
Their careers end so fast. Yes.
Because they have maybe 10 years.
Yes, for sure. I agree with that.
Right,
That
I
is
see.
that is an absolute fact.
I really didn't understand that because you always see like some, for example, here you always see like they even do Queen's hits and some of the fucking obviously without Freddie Mercury, but they do like reunions and stuff like that. And he's been out for when was his first hit? Queen's first hit, 1970s, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Right, so it's been like 60 years. You know what I mean? And they're still out playing some of them. Let's use another one. Papa Roach. When was Papa Roach out? 1992?
Crazy Little Thing Called Love by
1980s.
Queen was their first number one in the Billboard's Hot Hundreds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Phil
1980s.
Collins is a good example of that. Like, he's been out forever.
Yes.
The guy might as well have been born in 1800s. He would still be playing now. You know what I mean? So, Creed, all these guys, Green Day, that guy sounds exactly the same, plays exactly the same. His drummer is exactly the same person. Dave Matthews Band, Bryan Adams, all these guys. So it's because they don't dance, basically. Right.
And even though they can tell you that overworking with your body, it's a real thing. Like singers that have toured all their lives will tell you this is hardcore.
Well, of course.
Imagine what it's like to be touring with those bands, but you literally depend on your body. Like you are getting paid for your body to be at maximum expression all the time. That is a tough job, and that's why dancers in tours are rotated all the time. So say that you are you sign a contract to be with Rihanna this world tour, for example. Next world tour you probably won't be signed with them because you have already worked a season with them.
Right.
So it's the same with cruise ships.
Would your agency allow you to go on another world tour with someone else?
Probably they would probably suggest to do other type of work, like music video type of work, or commercials, or take classes, do classes, workshops, stuff that is less physically demanding. Usually that's the case.
It's a good agency.
If you're with
they
a
take
good,
care of you like that.
Well, they want long-lasting talent because they know that dancers have a very small window of opportunities, very small.
Yeah.
I actually believe it's just as small as fighters and top athletes.
So but that's my point. It's like, dude,
I
you're
have
seeing,
friends
you're
that
seeing,
with 25 years old have had hip replacements, dude. 25 years old.
Well, welcome to the game. That's not new.
No, but that to me is crazy because I used to think people that used to get hip replacements are like 80-year-old people that broke their hips, you know?
Nah, anything you do, I mean, I guess, but that's not a norm though. That's a bad example because that's not a norm.
Of course, but
You know?
I'm just saying that those are the possibilities, and you hear some nightmare stories about dancers that like they've had injuries since the beginning of their careers.
Of course, I mean, it happens. That's what I'm saying. It's the name of the game. The thing that most people don't put in their books, right, of how to be a dancer is that there's so many unpredictable factors and extraneous variables that you don't count for. But my point is, what I was gonna say, was, it's very weird though because in fighting you're seeing fighters' longevity increase like hell, like there's no tomorrow.
But I think
They-
also
they're
the
going-
measures, the procedures have also increased. Like the politics have also evolved. Like I don't even know how to call them. Like the regulations and they've started to care for the athlete, not so much about the entertainment of it. And I think they've also playing to preserve the athlete's well-being, welfare as the years have progressed in fighting.
Yeah. So I'm using fighters as it's the most extreme example, but my point is, fighters are now being able to fight for 20 years, 25. You're seeing fighters at 50, 47, 46. So why isn't that happening with dance?
I guess the nature of the culture itself.
In what sense? Like, so you have to look young.
I think it's all about people have just become complacent about the fact that you only have that window of 8-10 good years, and
So you don't feel.
after that,
So you don't feel like
just-
in dance, like for example, something that's happened a lot recently, and that's why tennis players That's why footballers are having longer careers, more successful, longer. You're seeing pros turn pro later. You're seeing athletes turn pro later. You're seeing athletes retire way later because recovery, dieting, training regimes, everything has improved immensely from 15 years ago. So, but you don't feel like that's happening in dance?
No, I feel like in dance that has all of those factors have helped develop the dancers earlier. So you've got professional dancers at the age of 11 that are already out there getting jobs professionally. So by the time they're 25, they are done with their careers. So they that's it. You don't have a longer, say, older lifespan of in their career. You will finish at the time, like at the age everybody else is done. 25, 30, 35, maybe 40 if you're pushing it. You know, I mean, Carlos Acosta is not young and he's still dancing out there.
He has been dancing.
But he is an anomaly. Carlos Acosta is an anomaly.
Yeah, so, anomalies, obviously, they're great. But when it comes to, like, all these people you're saying, like, 11 years old, he's 47.
Yeah, Carlos Acosta is 47. And I think, when was his last show?
Yeah, but not everyone is being done with their career at 25, though, as you're saying.
A lot of people, though. A lot of freaking
Like,
people.
a lot of... So, enough people to be significant.
Especially if you started when you were 11, professionally speaking. Definitely. At 25, people are fed up and their bodies cannot cope any longer.
Yeah, sure. So my point is, there must be a flaw, then, in the... No, I don't want to say the system, because there's so much individual responsibility there. Of recovery, of dieting, of... Recovery has to be huge, dude. Like, how many...
See, but, sorry, hold that thought. Carlos Acosta celebrated his farewell after 17 years at the Royal Ballet, dancing his last performance in November 2015. So he hasn't danced in 5 years. He retired. And 5 years, then was what? 39?
No, he said he was 47.
Yeah, but 5 years ago it was
42.
42. Yeah, he lasted a long time.
No, of course, he's an anomaly. But my point is, then there is an issue in the dancing world, not with training,
No.
but with the recovery bit,
No, the
with
training
the dieting bit.
No, all of that has played to their advantage, and I think
if you're only lasting 10 years in the industry, something is wrong. There's no industry that gives you 10 years of last. Dude, sport is improving so fast. And we discussed this the other week. Dance, it's a sport pretty much. So if they're only lasting, these kids are lasting 11 to 25, and then you're gone, like your muscles can no longer handle it, something is utterly wrong. Because footballers are starting when they're 4, 3. Tennis players are starting when they're 3.
not professionally.
But they're pro when they're 10. They're pro when they're 11. They're pro when they're 12. You're in the circuit. You're in the ITF. You're traveling the world playing tennis. Nadal won Roland Garros at 16.
Okay, fair enough.
Rob McEnroe won him when he was 15. I think 17 years old. Oh, sorry, Boris Becker, Wimbledon at 17. Ronaldinho, he was pro when he was 14. Ronaldo played with the pro squad. You know, it's like, it's not new. Like, dance isn't new.
No.
That sort of ideology of at 11, you turn pro, 12. But then at 25, you're effed. Dude, you're about to hit your prime. Your physical prime, you're about to hit it. 28, 29, 30.
Yeah, but you're not working, like, all of these sports, they don't require flexibility. And I think that's such a detrimental point.
But martial arts, huge amount of hip flexibility, huge amount of looseness.
An impact.
Relaxation, impact.
Yes.
Of course, no, but, well, you're seeing Stephen Thompson. Right, he's 31. You're seeing Joel Romero. He's a freak. Maybe a bad example. He's like close to 40. Daniel Cormier, John Jones. All these guys are past 30. You know, and they have this insane amount of hip flexibility and.
Yeah, but you can't tell me that those guys have gone through their whole careers with no physical repercussions.
No. So I'm not saying injuries shouldn't happen. Injuries are what they are, and they will happen in your career, early, later, or at the end of or they will end your career. It's the curse of being a sports person, an athlete or a dancer. but there are you can manage those. And
maybe it has to do with the requirements of the industry itself.
I also agree with that. The
what do you
requirements
mean?
of
Requirements
the
of
dance
what?
industry, the dance industry,
That's an industry.
you gotta be on your prime all the time. Like
Well, same as fighting. If not, you're dead. If not, you lose, and they got your paycheck.
I don't think you like your like your comparison.
What would be a valid comparison, you feel? I'm using fighting because it's the ultimate form of damage.
Yeah, but
Your job is to
it just
induce
doesn't-
damage and prevent as much damage as you possibly can.
I just the thing is like I feel like your comparison is a little unfair because I don't know anything about fighting, you know. So I feel a little bit out of my depth.
But what would you know about?
No, I don't know. I just believe that also the competitiveness of the dance industry per se it's just so I'm not saying that in fighting it isn't or in any other sport isn't as ruthless, but I don't know. I believe that there's a physical and mental demand that is on them quite often, like every single time they apply for a job. I don't know. Perhaps it's the same in sports.
I actually feel fighting is an unfair comparison to dance, because fighting is way more extreme than dance, like
Well,
50
yeah.
times more.
I would believe that. Yes, yeah.
So it would be an unfair comparison, but it is a good point of reference to try and. I just feel like it's not fair on these kids. They only have 10 years of dance. And
I know it isn't fair, but
that
it's the
shouldn't-
reality of
no, but
of
that shouldn't be the reality, because like for example, a good crowd, and I'd love to have dancers on or anyone else to have this conversation, because like I what is your diet like? Are you doing are you in cryogenic chambers? Do you have therapists? Are massages something frequently you do? Saunas, vitamins. Do you have specific supplements made just for you?
Yes.
Do you? There has to be a gap. There can't be just yes everything I'm doing. There has to be a gap, and a gap that maybe would be significant enough that then it would make an impact in these athletes' lives, so that they can have a longer, more profitable life as well. Because that's the other thing. Like, you have a career ending, you have a injury that's career ending. You haven't earned any money if you're 22. You know what I mean? Maybe you earn money for 5 years, but really, were you set for life? What else can you do now? Maybe coach, perhaps. And now you have to carry your broken dreams all throughout your life.
A lot of people do it.
So my question is, if there has to be a gap, there has to be a hole to fill, and I think the key might be recovery. Because I don't see dancers talk about that as often as
they do. Recovery
other
is a
sports people
huge
do.
thing. Recovery is a huge thing, and injury prevention is a huge thing in dancing. The longevity of the dancer is such a detrimental,
be.
like
No
such
money.
a pinnacle point of training, especially when you start them so young. I just think the aesthetics of the industry as in dancing are just way different.
Aesthetics.
Yeah.
So the
Like
look.
yeah, and the requirements of it all. Say that you are because I'm not saying you end your career at 25 and you retire and you stop dancing. No, but is around your late 20s, hitting your 30s. People stop picking you as a profitable, young dancer because you have the 22-year-old girl who can do exactly what you're doing, but looks twice as good as you because she's younger. Like I believe that there are other factors that come to play and why dancers have such a small window of opportunity in their professional careers. It's not just
I'd love to hear also from you guys, and maybe some of you are into dance, or maybe you are training, or you have trained, to see if that is sort of the feel. Not that I don't believe, of course I do, but it is interesting to see sort of that is like, if that, because obviously you have all your friends and you've been in the industry, so it's so intriguing to me that is the mentality. Like, you have maybe 10 years, to either make it, and if you had a 10-year career, you had a good.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's the same as sports.
No.
It's different now, but it used to be the same.
Yeah, but so why has dance fallen behind? That's my question. Because dance is evolving fast
The criteria, I think, it's the criteria of the industry, like as a whole.
Could be. It could be. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about it. Absolutely. I really do. It's so like, what do you call it? Thought-inducing to me.
Really?
Yeah, learning about different industries like
Just
health and...
As a dancer, you just accept it. You just take on the challenge. You know that that's it. And, make the most out of what you can.
What's I was gonna ask you this the other day. Oh God! Actually, not the other day. It was today when we were watching Morissette.
Oh yeah.
What's the What is the bloody show she came out of?
The Voice, Philippines.
So it's sort of like just like an off version of. So it's like The Voice, but only Filipino artists.
Yes.
Oh, I
So
see.
you know how they have The Voice UK here? They have The Voice Spain. It's the same. It's the same show, but in particular countries. I think she came out of The Voice Philippines. I think I read somewhere.
Because it's funny because we were thinking about the 10 years thing. That's how it came up to my head. Sorry. It's like she has just, I think she just celebrated her 10
Her
years
10
in the
years
industry. And
so freaking talented, that girl.
yeah, and it shows. Like I remember seeing people like that in South America, like people who have been, because 10 years is a long bloody time, dude. And she obviously started as a child actor as well.
I think so.
Actress, I should say. She was like in Camp Rock and stuff. Is it Camp Rock?
I don't know,
Check.
but I think it was.
I think it was Camp Rock. And you see these people that sort of been 10 years is forever. So the fact that she's still and she's still producing and still working non-stop. Yeah, it's,
Yeah, I think it was Camp Rock, the musical.
Oh, right, I see. 2012?
Something like that, I would say. Yeah,
That's sick.
it's cool, no?
I want to know what she thinks about her performances then.
Ooh, I bet she doesn't like him. Like everybody else in their right minds, when they look at their own first performances, I don't think you're very proud of them, because you have grown, haven't you? Like in your whole mastery of the art itself. So when you look at it, you're like, oh God, what was I thinking? How did I get picked?
Yeah.
Usually that's the thought process, but who knows? Maybe she loves that performance. Maybe that's one of her most favorite things ever. Because there are some people like that in the world,
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Maybe she was always that gifted.
Yeah.
Like, just that pinnacle good all her life. Could be. Who knows? Always there are freaks like that in the world.
It could be. One thing that is bloody utterly obvious, and it's becoming more and more obvious to me, it's that there is something different about the Philippines in terms of singing. There has to be.
I think it's the natural exposure of singing. It's not a taboo, It's like how dancing in the streets is not a taboo back home.
Yeah, it's welcomed. It's like encouraged.
It's encouraged. Yeah, it's like, go ahead, sing this song. It doesn't matter if you're out of it. Like, try to sing it this way. It's something like it's so culturally available for everybody. I feel like,
which just shows that if you do positively reinforce,
take the shame out of things.
yeah, as a coach, as a whole, something, it will naturally highlight people's talent in that area.
Absolutely.
Because that's not normal, man. The fact that a lot of like singing, it's such a it's a common thing. If people were sending me texts and stuff, 3 a.m. in the morning, you don't need to watch YouTube. You can just open the windows and there's some guy in the karaoke absolutely murdering it.
Yeah, definitely. And you're singing it along with everybody, and there are staple songs that you must know.
Yeah, I wish Pablo down the road was that good with the karaoke when he's drunk.
Yeah, basically, it's like I think you can't change the system, and I believe that Philippines is just so is so blessed to have had that ingrained in their culture. It's so cool, and it's relatively new to their culture as well. It's not like
Well, singing.
no,
Well, so
the karaoke machine.
Oh, because the
like,
karaoke,
yeah,
was
yeah.
it 90?
Like
We searched it up before. 80s, I think.
yeah, 70s. I think I read somewhere.
It's not very, very old. Karaoke machine, and it was an invention from there as well.
No, it wasn't. It's a Japanese version.
No, but somebody Filipino was involved in the
Okay.
making of it.
Oh, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
Look, hold on. Was karaoke Roberto?
1975.
Yeah, he helped develop the karaoke sing along
machine.
system in 75.
It's pretty cool. So it's relatively new. This is a
Very
new
new.
age.
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Bro, they got like they basically
Basically.
have like two generations of like class singers, simply because of the invention of one machine.
And it was so just culturally accepted. It was such a thing. It was like hair straighteners, you know?
And also,
Everybody must have one.
yeah, we don't even own one, do we? We
A
don't own
karaoke machine, no.
Well, guess
But
you
we
could do
do
it.
own straighteners.
Well, I guess we could just always go on YouTube now. Now everyone owns a karaoke
Like
machine.
anyone could sing karaoke now, yes.
Just use your what do you call it? Like.
But there is
brush.
there's something that is so cool about going into like a karaoke bar. There's like the microphone that has a lot of freaking reverb and makes you sound like 10 times worse than you actually are. It's like, you know, there's such a charm to it all. And
Yeah.
it's
Every Filipino
cool.
household we've ever been in has a karaoke
Absolutely.
machine.
It's just a must have,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's fun. I feel like I wish I grew up with that. Like, you know, like that openness about everybody must sing.
Yeah. Well, it would definitely would have helped me. You know what I mean? Just having
But you
a
know
karaoke
that
machine.
shame taboo factor of like, oh, I just don't sing. It doesn't exist in the Philippines. It's just culturally
You have
not
to.
there. You
Even if you're bad, even if
you
you weren't
just do
gifted,
it,
it's
yeah.
still fun.
yes.
And it's funny because that's such a like a human nature thing. You
To
want to
sing,
sing. You
to
want
dance.
to express.
Yeah. It's such
And
a
that's why even people, you know, when they take away their inhibitions through alcohol and drugs, they also go to places like karaoke stuff or karaoke nights, and they make a fool of themselves on the
they
show.
go out dancing because naturally that's what we were meant to do.
Yeah, I wonder who, like, maybe in
ooh,
tribes.
yeah.
That's where it all began, isn't it? Like where you start
it- that-
dancing and stuff like that.
But how
And
how
singing.
did that begun? Because it was just natural
Ooh, I got the shivers.
inclination. It was what existential.
Yeah, I got the shivers. What the heck?
Yeah, so yeah, I feel like that's just a natural human inclination to
Well-
express their feelings. They're hiding feelings and emotions through singing, vocalizing, and dancing itself. You know, it's
Let us-
always been.
Let's know what team are you? Are you team sing or are you team dance?
That's a good point.
Yeah. We'll end it there. I was gonna say something. We've been working really hard on the merch and stuff like that. We just really in one of my Q&As. I don't know when you guys are what today, Sunday. So yeah, so in one of my Q&As, I answered someone asking about the merch and stuff like that, and we're working really hard regarding the designs and thinking of some really cool stuff. But pretty much it's all done, kind of things. Then we have to sample it and see some stuff. But we'll definitely, like, probably next week in Feature Friday Plus, we'll tease merchandise. Yeah, and also like we didn't just want to do quotes. We spoke about this in the live stream. We didn't just want to do quotes and stuff like that. But we will do some, like a milky quote here and there. Maybe the more you learn, the less you know, type of stuff.
Yes.
You know, so
Mantra.
we'll have fun with it. We'll have fun with it, but only as long as you guys are also having fun with it. So don't be afraid to drop down your suggestions and sort of anything you'd like on the tops and stuff like that, because we can't make it happen.
That's right. Anyways, you have a blessed Sunday, people. We'll see you throughout the week.
Peace.
Bye bye.